Hello and welcome to BlueTube, where we talk all things blue. And this is a match review of the Chelsea match against Arsenal. And I have a big smile on my face because we had a big win today. 2-0 to Chelsea. Obviously Kurt Zouma getting the goal from the set piece, and Hazard at the very end getting a great goal as well. But guys, before I get into talking about the football, I just want to tell you a little bit about how I'm going to structure these videos from now on. I feel like for the last few videos, I've just kind of been rambling without any sense of direction. As for instance, the game against Everton, I talk about this, I talk about that, I go through the lineup, I talk about this. I'm just going everywhere, and I feel like that's really, number one, inefficient, which means that my video is incredibly long without having as much quality as I can fit into it in that time. And also, it just feels like, I don't know, it just feels like sometimes I keep rambling about something and I completely forget to mention something else which I really wanted to mention in that video. So here's what I'm gonna do. From now on, I'm not gonna talk about the whole game, about every single minute. I'm not gonna go through the entire lineup, reviewing every single player. Actually, unless you guys want that, I don't know. Maybe I can do a quick review of each player in the future. But for today, what I wanna do is just talk about some key moments, some key players, and just some general football. And I'm gonna pick them out right now. The players and the things I wanna talk about today are Ivanovic, Chelsea's defense in general, Fabregas, Eden Hazard, and Diego Costa. And Diego Costa is a very, very interesting one. And he is actually somebody that I want to begin by talking about. Let's talk about Diego Costa. And I'm sure if there's any Arsenal fans watching, if you're watching, you're probably not very happy with Diego Costa today. Certainly, Arsene Wenger was not. And actually, today I had the opportunity to watch all the post-match stuff. I heard tons of opinions. I'm actually a watcher of beIN Sports, so I heard Richard Keys and Andy Gray, some guys talk. I heard their full analysis. I came on to Chelsea TV. I watched Ben Andrews and Jason Cundy and that other guy, I can't remember his name, I'm sorry. I watched their review of the game. I watched Mourinho's interview for Chelsea TV. I watched Mourinho's interview for BT Sport. I watched Wenger's interview for BT Sport. And I also watched a little clip of Match of the Day that my friend uploaded on Facebook. That's a lot to get out. So basically, I have a lot to talk about. I have different perspectives to look at this about. And let's talk about Costa, as I said. Firstly, actually, before I get to Costa, let me just talk about all the red cards for Arsenal. Obviously, 2 men were sent off, Gabriel and Santi Cazorla. And there's a lot of controversy surrounding Gabriel. And Santi Cazorla, Arsene Wenger in his post-match, he said, actually, I want to talk about Wenger at the end as well, because he really gets on my nerves. I want to talk about him right at the end, if I remember to. But Wenger said, Santi Cazorla barely touched Fabregas. Fabregas is the baby, blah, blah, blah. Santi Cazorla shouldn't have been sent off, but nobody else is saying that. Everyone's kind of accepted that was a red card by Santi Cazorla. It was actually a second yellow, and nobody's complaining about that. So Wenger, just shut up. That was an obvious card. The first card though, Gabriel. And let me kind of walk you through what happened. I'm sure you've seen the clip of it. If you're on Twitter, there's loads of clips just going crazy right now. I think Diego Costa is even trending worldwide on Twitter. So what happened was, firstly, Diego Costa and Koscielny, I don't know what I'm doing, Costa and Koscielny gets in a little bit of a tussle, and Costa, I don't know what the word is, kind of not really grabs, but pushes Koscielny's face with both hands, and then turns around and then smacks him with his flailing arm as he turns around. Koscielny, to be honest, I think this was noble of Koscielny. He didn't make anything of it. He just kept his head down, went on with the game, and then the ball went out to Pedro, and then Pedro crossed it in. And then this is something that annoys me a lot. I don't know if maybe another broadcaster showed this replay, but beIN Sport didn't show any replays of this. Because at the second, from far, it looks like Koscielny kind of pushes Diego Costa down, but I actually don't know, because beIN Sports didn't show any replays at all, which really got on my nerves, because I wanted to see what happened in the build-up to, and then that tussle led to Diego Costa standing up, chesting Koscielny, and leading to Koscielny falling over. Gabriel comes, pushes them apart, and they kind of have a big thing. The whole team comes together, blah, blah, blah. And one thing I want to say about this whole tussle, what happened, because they're all fighting, and usually when these big fights happen, the captains come, they simmer everything down, they take their players, they hold their players back. And I think Ivanovic did that. Ivanovic did that very well. He got Costa. He said, "Look, you gotta calm the hell down." But then Santi Cazorla, what are you doing? I literally said these very words as I was watching it. Cazorla, what are you doing? Go calm down your players. And he was nowhere to be seen. He should have been there, holding back Gabriel, holding back Koscielny, just saying, "Calm down, I'll handle this." He should have been there doing that. He wasn't. And then after things seemed to be simmering down. Gabriel kind of had like a snide kick at Costa, which was captured on camera. It is confirmed. He did have a kick at him. And then Costa told Mike Dean, "Look, he just kicked me, what you gonna do?" And then Mike Dean pulled out the second yellow. Actually, before that, Costa and Gabriel were given a yellow each, and then he pulled out a second yellow for Gabriel for dissent. Actually, the official reason is violent conduct, which means that he gets a 3-match ban, which I think is a bit unnecessary. I'll talk more about that later. But then, obviously, Gabriel got sent off. And a lot of people are not happy about it because, firstly, people saying Diego Costa should not even have been in that situation because he should have been sent off when he initially kind of pushed Koscielny's face. Really, you should watch the whole thing before hearing me talk about it because you could get the wrong idea of what actually happened just by listening to what I'm saying, just from my description. So go on YouTube. I'm sure there's plenty of clips out there. So a lot of people are saying that. And I personally think, before I talk about anything, I think Mike Dean did well. I think he handled the situation well. And you might be saying, "Whoa, he handled it terribly. Shut up, Ocean. You suck at life." But before I go, let me just tell you, everyone at beIN Sports, except for Richard Keys, because he just questions everything in life, Andy Gray, Christian someone, and they even got a former FIFA referee to give his verdict on what happened. And all three of them, former players or former referees, said Mike Dean did well. He handled the situation well. And so, just saying, some credible people have actually said that it's been handled well. But someone who disagrees is the guy on Match of the Day, and I actually don't know his name, but the clip basically was him ranting, saying Mike Dean terribly. The problem with Mike Dean is that he likes to make the game about himself. Now, if he had simply just given a yellow card to both and left it there, it would have been fine. And I disagree with that guy on Match of the Day because I think Mike Dean did well. He gave both guys a yellow. I think that was deserved. Maybe people saying Costa deserved a red. I don't think that's the case. I honestly don't. You could say. And the thing is, they were saying this throughout the whole game. Costa's a player that plays on the line. He pushes things to the limit. And you know what? I'm not going to say that was definitely a yellow and definitely not a red. I'm not going to say that because I can see a referee giving a red for that. I'm going to be honest with you. I can see a referee. I can see a referee giving a red for this. As simple as that. But it's one of those calls that sometimes it's a red, sometimes it's a yellow. And I have seen similar incidents get a yellow or not even a yellow in the past before. And that's the case today. And of course he came out with a yellow. And Gabriel came out with a yellow as well. That was the initial. Mike Dean said, you both get a yellow, let's get on with the game. That's what he did, and I think he managed it very, very well. And it's just, I think, something that's agreed upon by everyone, whether it's a Chelsea fan or an Arsenal fan or the neutral or pundits or whatever, is that Gabriel is a fool. When Mike Dean gave them the yellow each, he should have just said, "Okay, let me calm down. There's 2 minutes until halftime ends, or until extra time ends. Let me just, calm down." But he didn't. He went back, he got drawn into, the whole situation, and he went and gave the I don't know what the word is, just that sneakiest of kicks to Costa, which obviously was caught on camera, and obviously was seen by the assistant referee, and I think, I said before, violent conduct, I don't think it deserves a 3-match ban. But let me tell you this. This reminded me of Didier Drogba against Manchester United in the 2008 Champions League final, and I know a lot of people are very, very angry about this, including myself, because obviously we lost the Champions League final with John. Let me not get into that. I don't want to be sad. This is a happy day. What was I even talking about? Yeah, if you guys remember, Man U Chelsea, Drogba does this to Vidic. It's not violent conduct, right? He doesn't slap him across the face. He just kind of nudges him, and I think, it hurts me to say, but I do think that deserved a red card. Or at least a yellow card. It deserves at least a yellow, maybe a red. It's one of those ones. I know there's a lot of controversy surrounding it 7 years ago. But But that reminded me of this. Gabriel just kind of kicking Costa. And, you know, Didier Drogba, for a similar incident, got a straight red. And I don't think there's any, I don't think there should be any controversy at all in Gabriel getting a second yellow. Because as I said, Didier Drogba got a straight red for a similar incident. So, let's kind of, take it into perspective. I think that situation was very, very well handled by Mike Dean. I personally think so. I know a lot of people may disagree with me. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Because even listening to Chelsea TV, I heard some Chelsea fans calling in, some of them saying Diego Costa's a legend, he's a leader, he's great. I love his combative attitude. But a lot of Chelsea fans were also saying, his playing is disgusting and he needs to stop being so argumentative with everything. And I feel like my view on this whole matter is that I like him. I like Costa as a player. And if he's playing on a football pitch, I'd rather have him in my team than the opposition's team. And that's purely because he can get a goal in two ways. And Ben Andrews said this word for word in Chelsea TV. He can either wind up the opposition or he can get a goal himself. And because he is a great player as well, and a lot of people seem to forget that he is a great player, that he was the third top scorer, or maybe the fourth top scorer, I can't remember. But he did score 19 goals in the Premier League last season. Or 20? 19, I'm pretty sure. He is a great striker. And, before I did say, maybe just over the last few weeks, he seems to want to fight everybody. But I think against Maccabi Tel Aviv, and I think this may be an unpopular opinion, but I think today he handled himself pretty well. That's my opinion. That's just my opinion. I think he's getting better. And I feel like when Chelsea are losing, he gets even more frustrated, which leads to him wanting to fight the whole world. But now that Chelsea are kind of picking up some form, he's getting back to how he was last season, which was, I'm going to be combative. I'm going to wind up the opposition, but also at the same time, I'm not going to go crazy and fight the whole world. And I think he's getting to the place where I like him at. And that's a good thing. So Costa, I like him. I think the whole situation was handled well today. Mike Dean, good job if you're watching this. Leave a like on the video. I don't know. So that's the whole thing on Costa. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. I feel like I'm just repeating myself. Basically, I like Costa as a player. I like the way he plays. I think Mike Dean did a good job. I don't think Costa deserved a red card. I do think Gabriel deserved a second yellow. I do think Santi Cazorla deserved a second yellow. Let's forget that. Let's talk about some other things today as well. And the other big thing that I want to talk about is Ivanovic. And this is actually something that's not going to be talked about by a lot of people because we won, because we got a clean sheet. And because, to be honest, today we completely demolished Arsenal. If you watch the game, you'll know what I'm talking about. We demolished them. Arsenal had 2 shots on target the whole game. Chelsea had 22 shots, 7 on target. Arsenal, let me check out the official stats actually. If I just scroll, where's my mouse? Scroll down a little bit. Possession, 63 to Chelsea. I don't know what I'm 63 to Chelsea. My mouse is down there. So 63% to Chelsea, 37% to Arsenal. Let me just. Oh my God, this is terrible. There we go. 22 shots for Chelsea, 9 for Arsenal, 7 on target for Chelsea, 2 for Arsenal, and 8 shots from inside the box for Chelsea, which is great. Great. Oh wow. Which is great. And let me just get back up here. I'm not gonna do that again. But I think Chelsea just demolished them, and that's why people aren't gonna be talking about Ivanovic a lot. But I want to talk about him because I personally have been talking about him a lot for the last few games, saying he has to be benched. He has to, we need to play Babarama. Even in the match review of Maccabi, I said, please drop Ivanovic. I said that. Now even I was talking to someone in the comment section, I can't remember your name, I'm sorry bro. If you're watching this, hi. But he was saying that Ivanovic is going to play. I said that's just speculation, but he did play. And I think he had a decent game. There was that one little thing in the first half when Sanchez showed his pace, Ivanovic showed his lack of pace, and he gave away a free kick. But other than that, I think he played a really, really good game, and he looked like the Ivanovic of old, being strong, good positional sense, whenever he bombs forward, because he likes to get involved with the attack, he bombed back to the defense whenever we lost the ball. And that looked more like the Ivanovic of old, and I like that. However, the thing is, I love him as a person, I love him as a player, I love him as a Chelsea legend, which I think he is. I said this before, I've mentioned this before, but the thing is, I feel like, I don't know, I still feel that uncertainty about him. I don't know, if Mourinho believes in him, I believe in him, but I personally just feel a lot more secure when Baba Rahman plays on the left and we shift Azpilicueta to the right. That's just my preferred setup for now. That could change. Maybe Mourinho will keep playing Ivanovic and he'll play just insanely. He'll just play like he did last season. Who knows? Anything can happen in football. But from right now, I'm still not totally convinced. My preferred lineup, my preferred setup is Baba Rahman and Azpilicueta, but we'll see what Mourinho does. The third thing I want to talk about today is just Chelsea's center back position. And this is interesting because John Terry has been benched twice in a row. 2 games in a row, 2 home games in a row, and it feels weird to watch the players come out of the tunnel without JT leading them. But, credit to Gary Cahill against Maccabi. I think he did well as a captain, and credit to Ivanovic today. I think he did decent today. But this is a conversation that we need to have, that Chelsea fans need to have. It's something that we need to think about. And that's JT. And is this going to be his last season where he plays a big role? Is this going to be, of course, I think he's still going to be at the club next season. I think there's no question about that. It's just the role that he plays which is in question. Because he's such a legend, he's such a leader, I do believe he will stay. But who knows? Maybe he'll go to the MLS as well. But the way the modern football is that there's lots of pace involved, and that's something that JT maybe lacks. And over the last decade, he's been one of the best center backs in the world, no doubt. And I feel like the game is different now than it was then. And of course, JT is getting old as well. He is 35, 36, no, 35, I think, or something like that. He is getting old as well. So we have to consider that. And Kurt Zuma today getting his goal, but also making some incredible tackles. I think he had a phenomenal game. Gary Cahill again. I said again because he played phenomenally well against Maccabi, and he played phenomenal today. Getting a clean sheet, doing well, making some good tackles, good positioning. So I think those two are really, really good. They've got pace. They're good, and I like them as a setup. And the question for me is basically the question that I want to ask you guys is, if you had to pick 2 center backs for the starting 11 right now, who would it be? I honestly don't know. And, it hurts my heart to say this, but I think I might be leaning towards Kurt Zuma and Gary Cahill. And JT, nobody loves JT more than I do. But I feel like his... And this is something else I want to talk about. It's not just his lack of pace. I feel like Mourinho has kind of had a change in the way he wants to play. Kind of a shift in mentality, if you will. As before, unlike before, where like last season against the big teams, he'd kind of sit back, let them attack, and try to catch them on the break. But this season, he's trying to play like Barcelona, and it hasn't really worked out for the first month or so. Obviously, we haven't won anything, but now we're starting to get there against Maccabi, imposing us onto them. Against Arsenal, imposing us onto them. Literally, Arsenal looked like they looked disappointing. To be fair, they were playing with 9 men. But they just looked really, really bad today. Just honestly, even when they had 11 men on in the first half, they didn't look good at all. And Chelsea looked dominant. We had the initiative, we had all the shots, we had the chances, we got the goals. It's as simple as that. What was I talking about? Yeah, and I feel like Mourinho's trying to play more attacking football, which means that we need a higher line in the defense. And the fact that we're playing a higher line means that we need even more pace in those center back positions. I feel like that's one of the reasons that Ivanovic hasn't been performing too well this season so far. But also the same reason that JT is maybe struggling to get into the starting 11 in the last 2 games. Because we're trying to play that high line, and they need that pace to keep up. And actually today, even though we were playing the high line, there was a great ball to Theo Walcott, and you'll know Theo Walcott has a lot of pace from FIFA. And Kurt Zuma, he ran back and he made an incredible tackle, and I don't think that's something that JT could have done. I think if JT was there instead of Kurt Zuma, Theo Walcott would have sprinted past him easily and had a one-on-one situation with Begovic. And that's just my thought on it right now. I'd love to know your thoughts on it, because really JT is someone special to us, someone really, really special to us as Chelsea fans. And it's a difficult subject to talk about, but I'd love to know your thoughts on it. Next thing I want to talk about is Fabregas. Fabregas. He wears a magic hat. I have been critical of Fabregas in the first month or so of the league. In my match review of the Maccabi Tel Aviv game, I said he played phenomenally well. I said he's back to his best, and I can only repeat the same thing for today. He played well. He was sharp. He made good tackles defensively, but also going forward is where he really shines. He made really good passes. In fact, he assisted Kurt Zuma's goal with a just a delicious cross. And I feel like his corner kicks are getting a lot better. We're looking a lot more threatening in corners. You know, we're not just losing it from the first man, which is what we were doing, which frustrated the hell out of me in the first few weeks of the league. No, but he is doing well now. He's passing the ball around very well. He's got good communication with the players, and he looks like the Fabregas of last season, and I like that. I really like that. So if you think about it, the last 2 games, he's got 2 assists and 1 goal. He's on a good roll. Hopefully he continues that. And yeah, that's all I really have to say about him. He's doing really well. I'm impressed with him. And actually, this is something I want to get to. And I know this video is getting long, but a lot of Chelsea fans seem to be divided upon whether Fabregas is better in that number 10 role or in that deeper, Frank Lampard role, if you will. Or not really the Frank Lampard, but kind of, like the box to box. No. Just forget everything I said. I'm a lie. Everything I literally just said is not true. But the question is whether he plays better in the number 10 role with Hazard and Pedro, or whether he plays better alongside Matic in that deeper lying role. And in my view, he plays better in that deeper lying role because he's really good at making those long passes that nobody sees. His vision is incredible, one of the best in world football in my opinion. And he's really good at transitioning that ball from the defense into the offense, which is something that Matic doesn't really have, or like Mikel or anybody like that doesn't really have, or Ramirez. Maybe Loftus-Cheek kind of possesses that, which is why I like him. But Fabregas, I prefer him in that deeper role, and I feel like when he plays in that more offensive role, he's not as effective. But a lot of Chelsea fans think he's better in that number 10 role. So, I guess, tell me your thoughts on this as well. You have to write an essay for me today. You have to tell me your thoughts on everything on life. But I personally don't think he plays very effectively in that number 10 role. I prefer him to play in that deeper lying role. And the thing is, this really symbolizes it for me. Usually, when we play against the big teams, last season, when we played against the big teams, when Mourinho wanted to kind of, play a bit more defensively, if you will, he played Fabregas in the number 10 role, and then he played Mikel or Ramirez alongside Matic. Just so that we have more of that kind of defensive approach, as I said. But this season, today, we played Pedro, Hazard, Oscar, and then Fabregas as well. We played an attacking team to go out and put the game onto Arsenal, to impose us onto them. And I like that. And I think that when Fabregas plays in that deeper lying role, we play more attacking football. That's just my opinion. Of course, I'd love to know yours. And let's move on to Hazard. Hazard. And actually, I want to talk about Oscar slightly just for 10 seconds. Oscar, he came back from injury against Tel Aviv, of course. He played phenomenally against them. And again, he played a great game today. Quick passing. And I feel like when Hazard, I said this in the Maccabi game as well, when Hazard, Oscar, and Fabregas play, because they're all players that can play really quick one-touch football, and they're all players that have a really good chemistry, so even when they're not looking at each other, even when their eyes are closed, they know where each other are. So I think those 3 have a special connection. And as I said in the Maccabi match review, they kind of have that Hazard, Oscar, and Mata kind of feel to them. When Mata was playing for Chelsea, they were like just the most beautiful thing that you'll ever seen in your life. And I feel like Fabregas kind of has that with them. Talk about Hazard. Hazard got his goal today, of course, but other than the goal, he played incredible today. He made great runs. He arguably had another really good chance. Maybe he should have scored the second goal when he kind of drove past 4 players or so and trying to shoot that goal into the bottom left corner. He missed the post by 2 or 3 yards, which is a shame. But he played very well. He looked like the Hazard of last season. Where he's skilling past players. He's really just going to the box and just doing what he does best, and I like that. And we have missed him for the first month of the season, but I feel like this game, and I said this in the Maccabi game, that the game on Wednesday against Maccabi was a turning point for us, and this just confirms it. I feel like we're just gonna go out and just be a beast, and hopefully this is where our season really begins, where we really start to play, I don't know why I'm doing this, but where we really start to show who we really are, show what we're made of, show that we're champions. And I feel like the fact that players like Costa and Fabregas and Hazard are getting back on form, the fact that Oscar's back from injury has really helped in the revival of Chelsea. I'm really enjoying watching us right now. Of course, I always enjoy watching Chelsea, even through the roughs. But it is a lot more enjoyable when you're on the winning team. So that kind of sums up everything for today, guys. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what to say, guys. Wow, I genuinely don't know. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully this video isn't uploaded too late. I am gonna try to upload this by Sunday. That's hopefully when you're watching it. It might be up on Monday. I don't know. I'm just rambling now. I will be back with a match review of the Walsall game, and guys, actually just a quick no, I remembered. Sorry, I want to talk about Arsene Wenger. I'm gonna make this video an hour longer because Arsene Wenger really gets on my nerves. You can see from my face. He angers me a lot. He genuinely does, and you may be surprised thinking, Arsene Wenger, what? He's an innocent soul. He is an innocent angel who fell from heaven. And Mourinho's Satan. Mourinho's the evil antagonist protagonist? And I don't even know. But Mourinho's the evil monster who likes to bully Wenger. That's not true. That annoys me so much, guys. And let me tell you, let me get back to the... Calm down. Let me get back to the Community Shield game. When Arsene Wenger didn't shake Mourinho's hand, that angered me. And if you watch my match review of Chelsea Arsenal of the Community Shield, if you go back a month or two and watch that wall, I'm angry, guys. If you watch that match review, you'll hear me just say I'm disappointed with Wenger. I thought he was better than this. To ignore Wenger like that, to ignore Mourinho like that, was really just dumb of him, was stupid of him, was immature of him, and everything that the media portrays Mourinho to be, but he isn't really. And the media gets on my nerves, so I'm gonna just go on a rant, guys. And I'm sorry for this. But just everything annoys me. And I was talking to my brother today, right? Because I watched the game with him, and he was saying, oh, Mourinho sucks, Wenger shook his hand, blah blah. But shut up! If you watch the beginning of the game, right? When Mourinho and Wenger had a handshake, and apparently the media are now saying, the feud is over, Wenger shook Mourinho's hand, it's not a big deal, blah blah blah. Shut up! Because Wenger did not shake Mourinho's hand. No, I shouldn't say that, because he did technically shake his hand. But if you see him, he doesn't even make eye contact with him. He barely acknowledges Mourinho's presence. He just does a slight kind of touch of the hand and walks away, thinking, I'm the cool guy. I beat Mourinho in the Community Shield. Mourinho sucks. Mourinho this, Mourinho that. That annoys me, guys. That really, really annoys me. And Arsene Wenger, I just don't like him. And even at the end of the game, you know what happened? Wenger doesn't even look at Mourinho, doesn't even go to Mourinho, doesn't even give Mourinho an opportunity to come to him. Wenger, as soon as that whistle's blown, he walks through that tunnel, doesn't even acknowledge the presence of Jose Mourinho. But guess what? The media isn't making anything of it. The media are just saying, look, Arsenal should have won the game. Arsenal had 2 red cards. Costa's a thug. He should go to prison. That's what the media are saying. But the media is stupid. The media is dumb. The media are liars. The media... Calm down. The media annoys me, guys. And the thing is, just imagine if the opposite thing happened. If Mourinho had done this to Wenger. If Mourinho had walked through that tunnel without shaking Wenger's hand. In fact, this happened last season when Mourinho... I can't remember who it was against. But Mourinho walked through, I can't remember. But the media made a big deal of it. They blew it up saying Mourinho, he's evil, he's Satan's son, he should kill himself. He should just, yeah. But guess what? Wenger does exactly that. Nobody cares. feel like I just need to throw something. Jesus, man. I just feel like I don't know, man. This is an unexpected ending to the video. But you know, Wenger just annoys me. Wenger annoys me. The media annoys me. The world annoys me. But guys, I had to get that out there because Arsene Wenger, he annoys me so much. Whenever I see him, I just want to cringe. I just want to be like, bro, what the hell are you doing? And I know there has been a history, so you know, the thing is, I don't really blame him too much for his actions. The bigger reason that I'm angry is just the media, I guess. The way they portray Mourinho, the way they portray, you know, Arsene Wenger. They portray Mourinho as this evil bully who kicks and shoves Wenger, and Wenger as this innocent child, the son of God, you know, who does nothing wrong. But the truth is, Mourinho's the one who pushed, Wenger's the one who pushed Mourinho in the touchline last season. Wenger's the one who snubbed Mourinho of a handshake in the Community Shield this season. Wenger's the one who today barely acknowledged Mourinho's presence and didn't even go in to shake his hand, or didn't even give Mourinho the opportunity to shake his hand at the end of the game by storming down that tunnel at the end of the game. So that wraps up today. Let's put a smile to my face again. Because we did win the game 2-0. I'm happy. I'm very happy. Hopefully this can be a turning point for us. Hopefully we go to Warsaw, we get that win. We just keep winning and winning and winning. And I genuinely do believe that we can win the title. But it'll be interesting to see what Manchester City do. By the time the video is out, you'll obviously know what happened between City and West Ham. The game's not actually on yet at the time that I'm recording this. So it'll be interesting to see. But you know what? I'm happy with the result. I'm very, very happy. I'll be back for a match review against Warsaw in the Capital One Cup. And until then, stay blue.